Hello guys, welcome to our podcast with Dr. R. Chidambaram sir at IIT Delhi. I am Harshit Mavandia, the Deputy General Secretary for Outreach and Co-Curriculum at IIT Delhi, and I have with me Dipanshu Rohela, who is the Secretary for Technical Clubs here at IIT Delhi. R. Chidambaram sir is an Indian physicist known for his role in India's nuclear weapons program. He coordinated test preparations for Pokhran-I and Pokhran-II. Chidambaram sir served as the principal scientific advisor to the federal government and was the chairman of the board of governors for the International Atomic Energy Agency. He was also the chairperson for the board of governors here at IIT Delhi. If we go on about his achievements, we would probably exhaust the time for this podcast. So, welcome, sir, on the behalf of the entire student community here at IIT Delhi. Thank you for taking time for this podcast on such short notice. So, let's start with the podcast. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, as I've always done.
Makes sense. So, let's start with the first question that came to my mind after talking to you yesterday and today. You have a very low tech lifestyle. So, is it to stay away from spies from America or something like that? Or is it to stay away from spies?
No, that's my style.
Okay, you like to maintain a low lifestyle.
You can't go and ask Mahatma Gandhi, what is this lifestyle? Are you staying away from America? I'm no Gandhi though. So it is a personal style.
Yeah.
You have a way of life, and everything you do has to be consistent with some general principles you have in life,
Right.
which you are not even aware of. They are in the subconscious. So your behavior is determined by that.
That's very interesting. How has your life been recently, sir? Like, what have you been spending your time on?
See, I have been, of course, Chairman Atomic Energy Commission. Then I was a Homi Baba professor. Now they have made me honorary chairman of the National Institute of Advanced Studies in Nuclear Science and Technology. Of course, my fields have ranged from neutron crystallography, structure of materials, high pressure physics. Then I started this cybersecurity institute in Chennai called SETS, in which many of, including IIT people, are involved. That's one field that intrigues me, cybersecurity. And I'm getting interested more and more in an academic sense than doing any original research in artificial intelligence and machine learning, because AI is now omnipresent.
It is like
Omnipresent.
booming thing in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us something about your attachment with bark. Like, I saw that you said to Vajpayee sir once that I'll charge in bark and discharge in Delhi. So why so much love with bark and hatred to Delhi?
The thing is, when I was in the Indian Institute of Science, I did my PhD there and also my MSc there. The PhD fellowship for me came from the Department of Atomic Energy. First I had the junior fellowship, then I had the senior fellowship. Then I joined BRC because I had a chat with Dr. Rajan Amanna. I was working there on nuclear magnetic resonance. And there, solid state. And there my interest on what is called hydrogen bonding. You may know that.
We are studying in our JEE syllabus.
It's there in your syllabus.
Yeah.
See, covalent interactions are very strong and directional. Van der Waals interaction are very weak and non-directional. Hydrogen bond comes somewhere in between. It is not as directional as a covalent bond, not as non-directional as this kind of interaction. So, and I was interested in what is called bent hydrogen bond. That was my PhD. Ice is totally hydrogen bonded. There is a water molecule surrounded by 4 water molecules, tetrahedral configuration, but the angle of HOH is 104.5 degrees. So the question was, to open out an angle, they used to put the hydrogen on the line between the oxygen. But the consequence of that is they open out the valence bond angle by 5 degrees. And it takes a lot of energy to that. That's why I introduced the concept of bent hydrogen bond. Whereas you take the hydrogen off the line, it's much easier to do than trying to distort air. That was my PhD thesis on bent hydrogen bonds. Then I looked at all kinds of hydrates, mostly hydrates at that time.
Crystallization also overlaps with that.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you want to see hydrogen, NMR gives you indirect information. Proton magnetic resonance affected by neighboring protons, which also have a magnetic moment. Whereas if you do neutron diffraction, you can see the positions of hydrogens, which is difficult to see in X-ray diffraction. See, the X-ray scattering is done by electrons. More the electrons, the more the contribution to the scattering. So if you have a heavy atom or even carbon and nitrogen, you can see by... But hydrogen is tough to see. It is only one electron. Poor fellow, some of it is dragged away by the neighboring atom, electronegative atom. Whereas neutron has no such problem. Hydrogen has a very significant scattering amplitude. And you can also take advantage of the fact isotopes of the same element by and large have more or less the same X-ray scattering. Neutron, it can be different. So one can use that fact also to solve what is called the phase problem. I don't know if you are aware of the phase problem in crystallography. Now, in X-ray diffraction, you measure the intensities. Intensities give you the amplitude. If you know the phase also, the Fourier transform is the structure. The Fourier transform of the diffraction pattern is the structure, but you don't know the phase. And the most difficult problem in X-ray crystallography is solving the phase problem. But that you do because a lot of, you have more data than the number of parameters you want to determine. So that you play around with, and there are methods of solving the phase problem. I won't go into that.
So tell us something about your journey as the principal scientific advisor.
See, after I was appointed as the principal scientific advisor, and then I continued. And essentially, the scientific work of India, the government or even generally, is divided into several departments. Atomic Energy, Department of Space, Department of Space, Electronics and Instruments, so on. But there are things which don't fall into any territory. Parts of which fall into many territories. What about electronics? Issues for everybody. So essentially, I started by kind of bringing together people, looking at some of these common problems. And there are problems which nobody attends to. So one of the first things I did was the National Knowledge Network. See, the US had the internet too.
Right.
The Europe had the GIANT. Because communication is very, very important in science. In fact, I don't know if you read Noah Harari, the famous writer.
Sapiens and 21 Challenges.
Sapiens. And Homo Deus. In the Homo Deus, he says, what distinguishes a human? Not that the chimp or the lizard is not smarter than you. He is as smart. But they don't know how to communicate. And that is the only thing that differentiates humans. And this communication, which developed into language, spoken, then written, then electronic communication, is the most important thing which enables people to get together in large numbers.
Right, definitely. So, you've seen all the prime ministers essentially, starting from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
No political question.
It's not a political question. It's related to the scientific field that, if you talk to a infrastructure guy, they'll tell you that it's very difficult to work with the prime minister. They are very stubborn. I'd like to ask this question that how do all the prime ministers look at scientific research and advancement? Like how do you make them understand the complex physics things?
Have an interest in science. And the politics does not get into it. when we talked about science with the prime ministers. So I have had no difficulty at all. The prime ministers may change, that is politically, administratively. But the scientific departments are hardly affected. Because fortunately in India, from the time of Pandit Nehru, there has been support for science. And that has continued.
Sir, but how do you talk science with them? Like, how do you make them understand the complex physics things that
No,
you
it
do?
doesn't happen like that. Even in your own field, you will find it doesn't happen that I try to make you understand what I am doing. You are interested in some area. And if the results of my area are affecting, then you would be interested in that. See, for instance, I'll tell you, in Bajpayee's time, when Arun Shourie was an excellent minister for electronics. And I was giving a keynote address in a meeting on electronics. So I was telling them at that time, many years back, that we missed the microelectronics revolution. We should not miss the nanoelectronics revolution, because that is a bad miss for us. So when the time came for Shauriji to speak, he says, the principal scientific advisor says, we should not miss the nanoelectronics revolution. But he is the principal scientific advisor. What is he doing about it? So I went back and said, I'll have a chat with you. Then I said, I met him. He was a very nice person. So I said, give me a 150 crores. I'll start 2 world-class centers of nanoelectronics. And he gave me the money. IISC and that is how the nanoelectronics center started. Now it has spread, of course, all over. But at that time, and we had excellent people, both in Bangalore, Vasi, in IIT Bombay. So they were all... so that is how it got built up like that. And then I got a lot of money for the National Knowledge Network from the government, which now connects, I think, more than 1,750 knowledge institutions in a very wide bandwidth network, gigabits kind of network.
Sir, we like to learn how do you handle all this research and technical work along with the administrative work?
See, essentially, they also want India to grow. And they know that India cannot grow without research and development. And they also know that research and development cannot be done unless you provide the funds. So you must keep them informed about what you are doing. Right from the top, fortunately, all our prime ministers have been in favor of science. From Nehru to Modi ji, they are all in supporting science. But whether India or the US, you must convince them that your project is a good project. That's your job. You can't say मैं पैसा मांगता हूँ दे नहीं मिलेगा. बताओ क्या कर रहे हो उस पैसे से? देश को क्या मिलेगा इससे आपके अनुसंधान से? That's very important. And it's, of course, they'll always mange more. We want more money. But fact is, enough is available, I think. Because everybody wants more money. No doubt. Even I want more money for my research.
Director sir mentioned that you carried a bomb in the truck. Do you have some need in that? We'd like to know about this.
No, that was in the 74, when we did the 1974 test. I had a very good friend, P.R. Roy, unfortunately passed away early. And that device, we didn't want to send it by air. We had to, because we had to tell them what we are carrying. There will be a lot of... And secrecy cannot be if you have to make that. So we took it in a box, in military trucks from Bombay to Pokhran. And they were all the army officers were, क्या ये क्या पागल लोग हैं, ये डब्बे के बाजू में सोता है, ट्रक के अंदर सोते. Whereas we are giving them excellent rooms inside. No, we said we want nice open air. ये इसको खोलो ऐसा, excuse me.
It seems so thrilling hearing about these experiences. So how important was this secrecy in our Pokhran tests? Like, what were the challenges, routines?
The thing really, of course, not that our colleagues didn't know it, but every one of them knew this was very important for the country. So all our wives were surprised when it happened. And they also knew we had to do it because in Paramanu you see somebody talking to his wife. Nobody talked to anybody. There's one fellow gets... They didn't know. They all thought we were in Delhi, some meeting. They didn't even know we had gone to Rajasthan.
So I again read a bit more about you. So you had the spiritual inclination, you practice Advait spiritualism. So some words on that, because many people think that science and spirituality cannot really go together, and they are the conflicting thoughts. So like how do you manage? It's like when you are spiritual, you turn off your scientist to switch, and vice versa, or like...
No, there is nothing inconsistent between science and spirituality. Science, you take science. How do you do science? You set up theories and you watch. And at some stage you decide all my observations so far are not inconsistent with the axioms of this theory. But who created these axioms? You say gravity is equal to mc squared. You have interpreted nature by setting. But who says E is equal to... Who created this law? Who ensures the forces between carbon and nitrogen in this table, in your body, or in a galaxy, or any two atoms in a galaxy, are the same? You try to control simple things you can't control. There, science has no answer. They can interpret why this law and not some other law.
Yeah.
They didn't create the laws. In there, whatever you do, ultimately you end up. There is some force.
So sitting in front of you, it feels like we are sitting in front of a very, yogi Baba from a very ancient times with great knowledge, and you are transcending it to us. And you also said in another interview that all the leaders have this two aspect of deep thinkers and yogic thinkers and the actioners.
The yogi and the kamisa. The yogi is the contemplative thinker. Commissar is the man of action. All of us are a mixture. Some more of yogis, some more of commissar, and they decides.
Where would you put yourself in this percentage?
50-50. And I always say about our Homi Baba, the great man who set up the entire program. He thought of building indigenous nuclear reactors at a time when we were not even building bicycles of indigenous design. What kind of self-confidence, not only in himself, but in his countrymen. That's where I compare Swami Vivekananda. I told you about self-belief. Self-belief I told you?
Not.
No. Swami Vivekananda, the great, you know Swami, of course all of us know. The old theology was, you are an atheist, you don't believe in God. The new theology is, you are an atheist, don't believe in yourself. Self-belief. All of us, but the young guys like you, must have self-belief. And it goes like that. Nothing India cannot do. There is nothing your IIT cannot do. And what is the corollary? There is nothing I cannot do. Good things. I'm not talking about evil things. So that is self-belief. Must have self-belief. You must have optimism. You must have passion to do great things for your country, for yourself, for your whatever organization.
Ask you this question, that what advice do you have for
This is my advice to young people. Self-belief, optimism, passion. All of us, all of you young guys must have something.
on these three terms, like country, your institution, and yourself? Okay. Noted. Yes, that's a very sensible and I think, yeah. So I think with that, I would like to conclude the podcast. You are
Young guys, and it's your responsibility. You are the studies on young guys. Take this country.
so you are
Oh no, we must be number one.
so we absolutely
And take it. And do it here. Go abroad. I have no. If I come back, just learn. And you learn and do it here.
absolutely, sir.
It is very tempting. Very tempting to go and achieve one. Now, the reverse trend has started. People see that great things can be done
In India.
all the best, young guy.
Thank you so much.
Fish.